MighTree. So we've just finished talking about the MighTree starter course. Let's move on now to the MighTree intensive course. I should take a moment right now before I go any further, and I should have probably said this at the beginning, but you don't need the physical book except on the review days. All the pictures and images from the storybook that you're going to need in any day besides those review days are going to be in the lesson materials that you're going to access on the learning box and be able to use in the classroom. So you don't need the physical book except on the review days. MighTree Intensive is days 9 through 20. The components of the intensive course is the textbook or the workbook, and then the 3 books inside. You have your theme story, your phonics story, and your nursery rhyme / extra story. And those are inside the workbook. So when you're looking to be ready and prepared for the class, know that you need 4 parts: the workbook and then the 3 storybooks inside the workbook. Here again, we have the daily lesson plan, or actually the monthly lesson plan for MighTree. And this is just an at-a-glance schedule for you to look at so you know what expressions they're going to be learning, any target vocabulary, and things like that. When you're prepping for MighTree, all the materials are going to be on the Learning Box website for you to look at during your prep time. So let's look at the intensive course in a little more detail. So we have 6 days of theme lessons, 3 days of basic concept and nursery rhyme, and 3 days of phonics lessons. Now, during the theme lesson, you're going to be using one of the storybooks, Storybook 1, that's inside the textbook. And when you're using that, you're going to be doing, again, like you're going to be following a very similar flow to the starter with theme songs and chants and video clips and games and things like that, and just really strengthen the learner's speaking skills and thoughts. Now, if you're looking at the schedule for the intensive course, you'll see that day 13 is a review. So that's to help them really review all the stuff that they've learned with the addition of the theme lessons. Then days 14 and 15, you're going to be taking some time to expand those basic concepts that the kids have already learned. So that means some more expressions, some more vocabulary. And then finally on day 16, what you're going to be doing is like a huge overall review of everything from starter course to intensive course. So it's almost like a complete unit review during that time. After that, you're going to be using another one of the little storybooks inside the textbook for the nursery rhyme part of the class. And then also when you do the phonics class, which we're going to talk more about this later, you'll also be using the phonics book that's inside the textbook. So, you really need to make sure that you're prepared with these little books that are inside the textbook, because they are essential to the class period. So, again, we have our 3-step process for the lesson flow for the MighTree. Get ready, speak out, I do. It's just like the starter course. We believe that by doing this consistent flow through the month, the students are going to get comfortable and really be able to absorb the language that they are learning. So, step 1. Step 1 of the get ready for the intensive course starts on day 9. And you're going to be going through days 9 through 13. You're going to be doing some reviews. You're going to be doing some expansion with the basic concepts. And then on day 16, you're doing a whole theme review, a whole unit review. Now, again, we're going to be using theme-related short clips, songs, pictures, and they're all going to come from the sub-theme in this book. And, I can't emphasize enough is that when these video clips are playing, you as the teacher are not just standing there quietly. You're pointing out the expressions, you're pointing out the pictures, you're ensuring that the kids are interacting with these materials. And again, you know, we have songs.
Good morning. Good morning. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Good morning. Hello and how are you? Early in the morning, I say good morning. Hello and how are you?
If a song is lacking actions, you need to kind of come up with the actions yourself so the kids are, you know, really having fun and being active. Never should the kids be sitting for any kind of extended period of time during this class. By being active, they're going to be more focused and they're going to be more receptive to learning it. You know, you can always play a song once through, see what the kids absorb from that first time listening to it, and then play it again and have the kids up and dancing and singing along to the best that they can. Step 2, we're going to move on to the speak out. With step 2, we have a theme story.
My school starts.
I listen to my teacher. I raise my hand. I get in line. I share. I'm nice to everyone. I clean up. I follow the rules at school.
Listen again.
And you're going to have them guess situations that they're going to be seeing in the theme story. You know, whenever you do a picture walk, you want the kids to guess and use their English skills to the best of their ability. It might not be perfect, but if they're able to at least have a one-word English answer to guess a picture, such as like if you look at this one, like if the kids are able to at least say school, then that's a great thing that can happen in the classes. Like you are able to see that they understand the situation that they're looking at. If you know they can say, oh, I go to school, then that's even better. But you really just want them to look at the picture. You want to see if they can, you know, guess what's going on before you even teach it to them. And as they go through this part of the class, you know, we're going to have a lot of different pictures and a lot of different activities, you know, so the kids know what they should be learning from the theme books and during the theme lessons, you know. So, you know, here they're learning, you know, simple school rules and things like that. And, you know, not only are they able to learn these expressions, but they're also able to apply it in the school and in their everyday lives. And it wouldn't be a MighTree program if we didn't have a theme song. Again,
I can follow the rules. I can follow the rules. And we'll have a good day when we follow the rules. I can listen to my teacher. Listen to my teacher. Listen to my teacher and I follow the rules.
you know, when you're doing the theme song with the kids, you want them saying the expressions. Watch any of these videos before the class period. That's part of being prepared for the class. So, you know, you can, as it's playing, you can be doing the actions. You could be saying the expression before it's said, so then the students can repeat with the video. Or if the students are catching on really quickly at this point, you can just be silently mouthing the words so the students can follow along as well. And, you know, have fun. Don't have them sitting. Don't have them not participating. You know, try and get your even shyest student up and doing something during any part of these classes. Finally, moving on to step 3 of I do. Again, you're going to be doing lots of activities with games, quizzes. You're going to do some more picture walks like you did during the starter, but they're going to be a little bit more intensive, hence the title of the intensive course. And here is where you really need to see if the students have acquired these expanded expressions, this expanded vocabulary. And also, it's really important to note that they remember what they learned during the starter course, because they had the theme in the starter course, they've had the theme in the intensive course, and now is where you really need to see that it's coming together for everything. Again, you know, you're going to have a lot of different activities, as you can see listed here. You're going to have situational videos that you're going to talk about. You're going to have picture walks. You're going to be singing songs. You're going to have games. You're going to have a lot of activities to do during this. These are just some samples of what you're going to be doing. Now, let's talk about some optional materials. The MighTree class is a 40-minute class, and depending on your student's level, that 40 minutes might only need the core material that you need during that time. Whereas, you know, maybe some of your other classes are going to be going through a lot more quickly. That's why we have these optional materials. They're going to include additional songs, some additional activities, and things like that. Do you have to do them? No, but never ever finish a class early. What I always recommend is, you know, you can use one of these songs. Kids are active, they're having fun. It's a good way to maybe wrap up a class. If maybe you're kind of tired of the songs, definitely take any of the activities that were used in the earlier class, play them again. Or if the kids really enjoyed an activity from a previous day, throw that in there for the kids to do. Really get them speaking. Use all your time for the class period. It's so valuable. Have the kids speaking and having fun during that time. Next, for days 14 and 15, you're again going to need one of the little books from the textbook. And this is where we're going to do some basic concepts such as opposites and numbers and colors and shapes. And, you know, this is just so the kids can really expand their speaking. And, you know, it's going to help them, you know, throughout the entire course, not only in MighTree, but also in other classes as well. So, you know, this is just fun, and it's also going to be following similar flows with theme songs and activities and speaking activities and things like that. When you're doing the nursery rhyme and the basic concepts and things like that, you know, you're, like I just said, you're going to be doing songs and picture walks and talking about the story. Here, the kids are going to be able to learn a very traditional, you know, English nursery rhyme, the same ones that we listened to growing up. And this is just the kids to have, you know, they're going to acquire a little bit more language and, you know, be able to speak a little bit more. And it's hopefully going to just add some more words and expressions to the targeted expressions for, say, the unit.
Black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bags full.
Baba, black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bags full. One for the master, one for the dame, and one for the little boy who lives down the lane.
Then when we go into phonics, the phonics story and all the images that we're going to use are for the students to recognize the sounds. And we use the right brain method for phonics, and so that's a lot of multi-sensory activities. So you're going to be doing letter sounds, songs, and a lot of movements. So, you know, instead of the students just sitting there learning their sounds, they're going to be able to use their whole body to really learn these sounds. And also during this time, they're also going to learn that very valuable skill of sound blending through a lot of different activities. And this is just to help them build up that skill of sounding out their letters and their sounds. So let's keep talking about the phonics program. During the phonics program, the kids are going to be introduced to Andy, which is going to be their phonics friend. And again, what we really want the kids to do is make connections to the images that we're showing to them and the songs and the videos and just everything, and let them really absorb the language through these very visual components of the class. And so during the phonics, they're going to be learning the letter sounds, and they're also going to be learning that so important skill of blending. And through the activities, again, we're going to have that same 3-step flow, with theme songs and target songs and picture walks and things like that. And then with step 3, you're going to also have games and activities and just a whole slew of things to really help the students learn these phonic sounds and these blending skills. So, using with the storybooks, with the phonics story, the stories are really going to focus on the sounds that the students are going to be learning for the letters for that unit and so forth. When you're doing this, you should see if the students maybe already know their letters. This is a great way to check their progress, and maybe they already know all the things in the pictures, but then you can really put some emphasis on those letter sounds so they really acquire those letter sounds, and they can just instantly know what you're looking to say. We think that the sounding out skill is just a very important skill for, not only English language learners, but, also as native language speakers. We acquire our speaking skills through learning to sound things out. And so by starting in the 4-year-old program, this is such a vital skill that the kids will be able to rely on as they continue their English learning education. And, we do it through a lot of full body actions, with air drawing and pairing with a friend to create letters. And this way, they get to have fun and create memories, but also learn very important skills that will just help them as they continue their education. With the sounds of the month, you want to blend the sounds through activities. And one of the things I should point out here is that here we're using TAS as a sample to show you.
Let's chant together. Are you ready? Go.
S test
What's really important here is that, these sounds might not always go together naturally, but what we're doing is we're just developing that sounding out skill with these activities. So the students know that when these letters are put together, they make this sound. And so when they move up through programs and they move on to programs that maybe develop their reading skills, they have this very important skill to, dive right into reading, and maybe they acquire their reading skill a lot more faster. Now, again, just like the starter book, we have 10 themes or 10 stories that happen with those learners. They're going to pick up language and expressions, and also during the intensive, they're going to apply and expand with the intensive course. Again, they're also going to be doing phonics during this, and they're going to be learning their letter sounds and how to blend those letter sounds. And then the other part of this program is the nursery rhyme. And this is just to help form their language, develop some literary skills, and also a very important skill is the creative thinking as well. Again, I cannot emphasize is that this is to reinforce speaking skills, to make those speaking skills strong. And you know, like I just said when I was explaining about the phonics section is to build up a base for the reading skills, which they're going to need as they move on to different programs. So, some tips for teachers. The lesson materials that include the star marks mean that it is an essential part to do. I mentioned earlier that there are some optional materials available to you, and those are the ones that do not have a star. But the ones that have a star, again, I emphasize that they are essential to the lesson. And if for some reason you might have a class period that's less than 30 minutes, you can skip the pages without the star marks. But if you have a full class period of 30 minutes or more, you know, try and include all the slides in the lesson materials. A lot of these slides are going to be interactive, so you're going to have to be clicking certain things and knowing when to click things and things like that. So definitely pay attention to any pointer marks. So that way you'll know that there's an animation or a video or anything like that. Also, I've said this before in this training video, is that during your prep time, you need to be on the learning box looking at these materials, because any information that you need to know as a teacher are going to be on the little teacher boxes that you can see like here. That's how you're going to know what materials you're going to need and what you're going to need to be doing during the class. There is not a separate teacher's guide for you to look at. The teacher's guide and the class guide that you need to have a successful class are all in the same file. So you really need to be looking at this in full, watching as many of the video clips and song clips as you can during your prep time. Before we wrap up this training video, let's go over some do's and don'ts of the MighTree Pro. Learn this material frontwards and backwards and right and left and upside down and all the ways around so you are fully prepared for a class. Second, be active. You should never be sitting for any extended period of time during the class. You need to be moving around, and also, you know, the kids should also be active. You want them to have fun, and the best way for the kids to have fun is to also be active during the class. So, you know, if you need to sit down and interact with the kids, that's fine, but be quick to be back up and active so the kids have something to focus on. A moving target is a little bit easier for them to focus on than one that's just standing still. Third, I know it's a weird thing to say, but call your students' names. Learn your students' names. You know, you're their teacher and you should really know your students' names. And calling a student's name is a quick way to get them back and focused on the material. And also it gives them a boost of confidence when you call their name, because you know that they know what to do. Number 4, you want to demonstrate almost every activity, especially when introducing anything new. So from it being a target expression, a vocab word, to directions for an activity, you want to be using your whole body. The students might not understand every single thing coming out of your mouth, but they're going to understand your body language as well. So that's just very, very important. And it goes back to number 2 of being active. Fifth, you want to check comprehension. And I don't mean reading comprehension. You want to check that the students are absorbing these expressions, they're absorbing the vocab. And also, you know, a good thing to check with their comprehension is that when you're demonstrating any directions or activities or even expressions that you can see that they're understanding and making that connection in their brain. And so if you're asking them a question, they're comprehending that question, and then they know what they need to say back to you. 6, mentioning questions. You want to ask questions that elicit a response from your students. Don't be asking simple yes and no questions. That's not a way to check comprehension. That's not a way to demonstrate. That's not really a way of being active. By asking questions that the students have to respond to, whether it's using everyday expressions or things like that, you're going to be able to interact with the kids and really see that their language skills are developing. Also, another thing, saying anyone, when you're looking for an answer to this question that you asked, is not really an effective way to get the kids to respond to you. That's why, going back to number 3, knowing your kids' names and calling on individual students. Also with this, you're going to be able to control who's going to be answering. Someone's always going to be ready to answer you and not going to give a chance to the more shyer students. By asking these questions and being more direct with your questions and calling your students' names, that's going to give everyone an opportunity to speak. These have just been some of the do's and don'ts of the MighTree program. So everyone, that has been the MighTree program. I hope that this has been informative and that you really know how to teach this class now. And just go and have fun and really enjoy teaching this program. Bye.